Welcome to the AI Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Today on the podcast, I want to talk about a really interesting story, which is a company called KoBold Metals. They're using AI to help them find minerals, aka mining, for essentially like electric car batteries and those kind of things. So it's like for energy transition stuff or whatever. They've just raised $491 million. And I want to tell you about them because I think it's one of the most interesting AI use cases I have heard in a long time. They're doing some really interesting things, so I want to break it all down. Before we get into the episode today, I want to say if you're interested in making money with AI tools, if you have a side hustle or you want to grow your business, I would love to have you as a member of the AI Hustle School community. This is a community where every single week I release exclusive pieces of content I don't put anywhere else, explaining how I'm using AI tools to grow my business, how I'm using AI side hustles to make money, essentially. I break down all the tools I'm using, all the software, everything, and products and things I can't publish publicly. So you can go check that out in the school community. I'll leave a link in the description. It's $19 a month. In the future, I'll probably raise it to $100 a month. But for now, if you lock in the price and get it now, you can lock it in. You don't have to worry about it being raised. So go check out the link in the description if you're interested in the AI Hustle School community. Let's talk about KoBold Metals. So earlier this year, the company found what might be one of the highest or one of the largest high-grade copper deposits of all time. So obviously they're sitting on, a gold mine, except it's a copper mine. But what's interesting is how they actually went about finding this deposit. I think the one that they currently have, it has about the potential to make about it has to essentially produce hundreds of thousands of metric tons a year of copper. So that's insane. That's what their CEO has recently said. So just 8 months after they did this, and now closed almost $500 million in funding. So $491 million. And all of this they're going to be using to develop this mine that they found and working on developing more AI that they're using for future exploration projects. So I think right now they have about 60 different projects or sites that they're they call them exploration projects underway. And essentially what that is you can imagine they go to a mountain. I'm going to break this down, even though this doesn't necessarily have to do with AI, because they take this data and they bring this to AI. But how this works is they're going to all these mountains, they're surveying them. There's a lot that goes into the geological side of this. They're taking core samples from mountains. So they're just drilling way down into the mountain, pulling out like these giant rock like tubes that they've drilled out. And then there's tons of data that comes out of that. So they're sampling the different types of rock that they pull out of these cores, and all of that data, usually they have analysts, they have all sorts of people trying to look at it and predict if there's gonna be the right types of minerals inside of these like locations or mountains, and they go and drill. Now, what was absolutely incredible to me was and it's essentially this company originally was only focused on finding. So they were kind of the technology side more so. They were going and doing some of these surveys using these AI tools, and they had this AI thesis that they could use AI tools to go and help find the minerals, specifically copper, lithium, nickel, cobalt. All of that is for like electric car vehicles and any sort of or any sort of batteries. So and this is useful for any sort of clean energy, battery energy storage. So that's kind of what they were focusing on. And they were just really focusing on the discovery of this. They've shifted, I think, after, they had last time they raised, they were valued at about $1 billion post money. So they raised like 200 million. And now it seems like their thesis actually worked. They were able to go find this massive copper mine. And so now they've raised at a $2 billion valuation. And they raised $250 million or $500 million. So, give about 25% for that, in their most current round. So what are they actually doing to find this? What's the secret sauce? Are they any different than anyone else? I would say yes. So, KoBold, they use artificial intelligence, AI, to look through tons of data that they're collecting from these core samples and other places, and essentially using this to find the best mineral deposits that they can essentially get these these minerals from. So what's interesting to me is apparently looking for these prospecting, right, for these minerals has historically been really, really risky. So it's not just like that it's hard, it's also kind of dangerous. Um, the rule of thumb, apparently, in the industry, after reading up on it, is that for every 1,000 attempts to find a deposit, only about 3 tend to be successful. So you could say like for every 300 attempts, one is successful, but it sometimes you have to do like a lot more. Sometimes you'll do like 600 attempts and have zero success. By the time you get to about 1,000 different attempts, you're gonna typically find 3 that are successful. So that's kind of in the industry. You got to do that. So KoBold, because they're using this AI, and essentially they're just giving the AI all of this data about all of their samples, all of the locations, and they're feeding it they're feeding it the data of successful mines and successful mineral places, right? They're like, okay, when they did their tests, all of their mineral readings and core readings came back with these different results. These are the different geographic locations that these things were all found at, and based off of that, where do you think we should look? Number one, where do you think we should go to look for these minerals? And number two, here's like 10 different sites. We did these samples. Which ones do you think are most likely to actually have the minerals? And the AI is predicting it. So how is their prediction compared to the industry standard of 1,000 attempts to get 3 good deposits? Um, they are seeing a much higher success rate. So the company has about 60 exploration projects underway, and in that 60, they've already hit this enormous copper mine, which is in Zambia. So it's essentially they have one hit in 60, where usually people are seeing an average, like you average, but it's not even that good, of like one hit in 300. So this is really, really impressive that they've been able to do this better and faster using AI. Um, One interesting thing that the company has done is, like, originally that was kind of their premise, right? They were just like the technology sort of sourcing, or like, finding company, prospecting company. Once they found this big mine in Zambia, though, then all of a sudden they said that they're gonna switch to actually being a developer, and actually going to develop the Zambia resource. They call it developing, but I mean really they're just extracting the minerals. So bringing in all the trucks and everything, and they're gonna get it. And apparently that's going to cost them about $2.3 billion for this Zambia one. Now, you can imagine if they're going to spend $2.3 billion, and they just raised $500 million. So I'm assuming they're going to get using profits from minerals that they're pulling out to reinvest. And this $2.3 billion is going to be spent over time. But if they're going to be spending $2.3 billion, you can imagine they are making many, many, many multiples of that from this. So very, very lucrative. So the question a lot of people are asking is like, okay, so is this just some like random prospecting company? Is this any way related to tech? The interesting thing is it wasn't a traditional mining company that was going to do this, I think, until they found, like a multi-billion dollar mine. Then they decided to just pull it out to save more money. Who actually invested in this? They have Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma. So already like some of the richest men in the entire world. Andreessen Horowitz, one of the number one tech VCs in Silicon Valley, and Breakthrough Energy Ventures. It's funny that, I mean, they have a lot of other people, especially in the early fundraising rounds, but it's just funny when they highlight people, like one of them is like some energy venture and the rest are just like tech moguls and like top VCs. So anyways, really, really big company doing some very interesting things. If you go to their website, it says KoBold Metals, finding the materials of the future with AI and HI. This is really their focus. Their focus is on using AI to find these things. They stumbled on one of the biggest copper mines on the planet and decided that they're going to also become a mining company, which I think is sort of a funny, not funny, but I mean, it makes sense, right? They're making a lot of money, but interesting pivot. But I think all of this just goes to show how powerful AI is. And it's not like AI is a magic wand where they wave it and it tells them exactly where to drill or exactly where to go and they strike gold. But being able to bring your odds from, 1 in 330 to 1 in 60 is absolutely phenomenal. And I think it just goes to show how much AI is impacting so many industries I don't think about every day. I definitely do not think about mining every day as an industry that can make a lot of money. But to the listener, you guys are in all sorts of different industries working on all sorts of projects, and there are so many ways that AI is helping your industry. So if you have a unique way that AI is helping your industry, let me know over on LinkedIn. I'd love to cover it. I'd love to talk about it. I'm going to try to bring you more of these unique stories beyond just some of the software use cases, and break down the real financials. And if you're interested in personally making money with AI tools or scaling your business with AI tools, I would love to have you as a member of the AI Hustle School community, where I break that down and break down exclusive content over there that I don't share anywhere else, every single week. So you can go check that out with the link in the description. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and thanks for tuning into the podcast.